Marshmallow Toga. I'm a student at Middlebury College, and I'm actually a Posse scholar. Posse is a scholarship program that looks for leaders, and um, yeah, I was picked to be a Posse scholar, and I'm grateful for that. I actually wrote a piece on the Outsiders Guide, which is a website that's just for students in New York who are getting into like the realm of competitive schools and they just want to know how to make their way through that. I wrote a piece on the Posse scholarship process and how it looks. Um, uh, if I had one tip that I had to give to anybody doing scholarship interviews, I would say this is like a really cliche one that you've definitely heard before, but I'll try to like just give more insight to it. My tip is be yourself. Be confident in yourself and go in there not trying to be anyone else. I know you've heard that before, but the reason why I say it is because um over time while I've been going to interviews, I've noticed that the people who like run these interviews are very good at seeing through phony people. Like they've done it their entire careers and it's their job to like see who's being real and see who's not. So um yeah, they're really good at seeing through people who aren't being themselves. So don't go in there trying to be anyone else. You'll probably have your best performance being yourself, and you've made it that far into the interview process being yourself. So don't try to switch it up for the final interview. Like a couple people did that during my final posse interview, and I could tell you right now they didn't make it as far. So um, yeah, just like always be yourself. If a program wants you or if a job opportunity wants you, they make sure that they want you for yourself because your true self is going to end up coming out eventually and it'll just make things harder to like maneuver through, navigate through if you weren't being your true self from the start. So, yeah, that's my piece of or that's my 2 cents when it comes to not only scholarship interviews but just all interviews in general. I've had to sit through a lot of interviews and I've had the like the ups and downs. I've had interviews where I wasn't being myself. I've had interviews, and then I've slowly like worked my way into like being myself more and more during interviews. So um, yeah, I've gotten rejected. I've gotten accepted. All like it's all a matter of chance, and it's all a matter of who you are. So just make sure that you're being yourself. If you get the opportunity, that's great. If you don't, there's other opportunities out there. So yeah, that's that's my little piece right there.
Hi, I'm Pat McCreary, the Associate Dean of Students at the Gallatin School of Individualized Study at New York University. And I'm excited for you that you are thinking about applying to college. Probably you are maybe already working on your application. And I know that some of you, I think, have questions about planning for interviews. So let me just say a few things. One is that many colleges don't ask for interviews. And frankly, some colleges get so many applications that there's no way that they can interview each student who, who wants to interview. But let's say that you do get an interview. What do you need to prepare for? What are some good questions to ask? So one of the things to keep in mind is, first of all, is to think about, um, is this the right college for you? How do you ascertain that? And some of the questions that you need to ask your interviewer, what kinds of courses are they offering in the areas that you are most interested in? What have their students who are interested in studying what you want to study, what kind of degrees do they get? What do they go on to do after they graduate? Are there any student clubs or student organizations that are focused on your particular interest? Remember that you are applying to this college, and very often people think, oh, I want the college to want me. But you have to make sure that the college is the right college for you. So you have to make sure that you really want this college. Other good questions to ask, um, how many faculty, and this is sort of it's a data point that's really important. What is the professor to student ratio? And the lower that number means the more attention that you as a student will get. So if a college or a university has, say, a ratio of 20 to 1 or 18 to 1, that's pretty decent. It means that you will probably be in smaller classes and will get more individual attention. If the college or university has 30 or 40 to 1, then that's a sign, a potential sign, that even though those professors may be great and the classes may be great, the professors are simply not going to have that much time to devote to you because they are talking to so many other students. Another area that you should not feel shy about asking in any kind of an interview is about financial aid. So very often students come to college and they don't quite get the aid that they need. And they have hopes, they know that they're strong students, and they're like, if I can just show them after a semester or two, if I can just show the college or university that I'm a strong student, they'll give me more money. Unfortunately, that's not the way it works. Very few colleges anymore will give what's called merit aid to strong sophomores or juniors or seniors. So the financial aid package that you get when you enter college, and you will learn about your financial aid package before you actually start, that's going to be basically the package you get for the next 4 years. Maybe if your family circumstances change drastically. So on the downside, if one of your parents or whoever is helping you pay the bills, if they lose a job, that might change and maybe you would get more money. Likewise, if a family member wins the lottery, you might not qualify for so much aid. But by and large, those things don't happen, and so the financial aid that you get is going to be, at the beginning, is going to be about the package that you get all the way through. If you get a chance, and it's difficult right now given the pandemic, but if you get a chance to visit these colleges, even if you don't have a formal interview, go and visit. Can you imagine yourself living in this place, at this place, in this place, for 3.5, 4 years? Do you like the city? Do you see people there who you would want to hang out with? Does it feel comfortable? There's kind of a myth sometimes, I think, where students believe there's only one right college for me. It's not true. The United States has thousands, literally thousands, of colleges and universities. Most of them are really good. Any of them are going to be lucky to have you. So cast your net wide, ask some smart questions, and enjoy yourself as much as you can in the process. Good luck.
Hi everyone, my name is Olivia Brady and I'm the Youth Engagement Coordinator for NYC Votes at the New York City Campaign Finance Board. I use she and they pronouns, and I'm super excited to talk to y'all about interview best practices. While I primarily do a lot of get out the vote and local government work with my young people, I also really try to incorporate professional development skills into our programming. And that's especially important for young people who, maybe haven't had a ton of experience yet. And so today I just want to share some, good interview tips and tricks to make sure you're really prepared for when you get a call for your first interview. So kind of, my first tip always, make sure you have your whole focus on your interview. So if it's on Zoom right now, make sure, you're turning your computer notifications off, your phones off. If you're in person, make sure you're making eye contact, take notes. That can really be helpful sometimes. Just make sure the person you're talking to knows that you're listening and that you're engaged. My next tip is just to wear something appropriate. Again, depending on the job, you might need to not dress in full on business casual, but make sure you have something appropriate on. And kind of my rule of thumb is to always wear something you feel confident and comfortable in. So if wearing a suit to a Zoom interview is going to give you the boost of confidence you need to bring your best self, then do it. If you'd prefer to just wear like an appropriate t-shirt or maybe like a casual button down, that also works too. Another thing, arrive on time, but also give yourself time, right? You don't want to be rushed. You don't want to be running around, not feeling prepared to go in. Take about 10 to 15 minutes in advance if it's on Zoom to just kind of sit down, make sure your Wi-Fi is working, and that you have a good, comfortable place to chat. If you have limited access to Wi-Fi too, this is a huge issue for a lot of folks, right? Don't be afraid to, let the interviewer know that you might need an accommodation or to do a phone interview instead. Just being honest and upfront about your needs is super important. And these are things that employers look for. Um, you know, the other thing is, right, come prepared, right? Review the resume and cover letter you submitted ahead of time. Reread the job description. Take some time to think about who you are, what your values and strengths are, and some experiences you've had that exemplify these. Again, employers want to know that not only you're prepared, but that your skills, relate to the job. And if you take time to just review the materials, it'll really show in your interview and it'll also help you feel more confident because you'll know what you're talking about. And then, kind of interviews are a two-way street, right? Your potential employer wants to make sure that you're a good fit, but this is also an opportunity for you to actually make sure that you like the position you applied for. It's good to have like 1 to 3 questions for the person that's interviewing you. Think about what you want to know about the job that maybe wasn't in the description. I mean, and this could include anything from like expectations to how you're evaluated to even like what are the health benefits, what is my pay, how does time off work, things like that. These are all things that you would want to know before you step into a new role, even if it's just an internship position or maybe a part-time job. These are all really important things, and again, coming with questions is it just shows your potential employer that you are engaged, that you took time to be prepared. If you just Google like questions to ask in an interview, there are a ton of resources to give you ideas. And again, never like say word for word what you read online, but this is a good place to kind of start to think about things that maybe you wouldn't have realized you wanted to ask about before you saw that you could. Um, you know, Make sure you send a thank you email. It's, standard practice to do so. Again, this can just be a short note. You don't have to, write a 5 paragraph essay. Just make sure to think about including like a specific topic that was discussed during the interview and then relate it back to why you want the job and why you think you are a good fit. Be confident here. Make sure you express how much you enjoyed the interview. And again, like Google is your friend when it comes to kind of professional development clues. You can look up sample interviews. Again, do not copy and paste because that's plagiarism. But if you need a little help figuring out what the structure or the format is, you have the internet at your disposal. Really use it, to the best of your abilities. And then the last thing is just be yourself. You got an interview because you're qualified for the job. This is just kind of the next step to make sure that you're a good fit for each other, right? So just bring yourself, bring your most authentic self, right, to the interview. And your employer just wants to see who you are as an individual and really confirm that you're a good fit for the position. But if you get the interview, just always remember that you are qualified and you deserve to be in that room. I know for young people that can be a little intimidating, especially if this is your first kind of job opportunity, but just always remember that. You deserve to be in the room where that interview is happening, and you got there because you're qualified for the position. So those are my interview tips. Again, if you have any questions for me, I will link my email below, but feel free to reach out and best of luck and happy interviewing.